Hey guys, welcome to this lovely Friday morning-ish. It's still morning.
It is.
It won't be morning by the time we're done here. But I've wrangled my two old men, which they've been really enjoying me calling them recently. Kevin keeps looking over his shoulder to see who I'm talking about. Or he's like, hey, Dondi, that's for you. In any case, so we're going to be doing some trading cards today. And I don't know, Kevin said he had a plan. I asked him about this on Tuesday, and he said, I don't know. But then by Wednesday, he said, well, I thought about a plan. So
It's a very loose plan.
it's a loose plan. But that's how we roll around here.
Ever show you my knife?
Oh,
Only
wow.
every month.
Oh.
You want to have a spin-off?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got.
I think
Then he's
you
got
win
his
on
old
this, don't you?
smoothie.
Wait a minute.
5,
All right.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I didn't hit mine good enough.
Denny wins.
Denny wins again.
He's got the old smoothie.
You can tell old Chuck Smith.
You can tell old.
Oh.
I'm gonna sharpen mine.
I didn't even bring a straw pen.
Hold on. I'm only prepared for that.
She's not as dumb as folks say, you know that?
Always the nice one. I don't have a YouTube chat.
Bummer.
Thanks.
Drop mine a little bit too.
Well,
And then I'm just going to let everybody that's in the audience know that we are having technical issues with technology. And so we only have one auxiliary camera besides our...
We got front, overhead, and one.
one side camera.
we're
So,
having technical issues with technology?
yes, our technology is dying and it needs to be replaced. And we discovered this really hardcore yesterday. One of our inputs is broken.
One of our inputs into our
I win!
camera switcher, which also acts as the camera input.
Yeah. The camera's okay, but the inputter is broken. The box that it goes through. The eyeball is messed up.
The eyeball. Nothing worse than a messed up eyeball. I'll tell you
Girls just
that.
went to the eye doctor this morning.
I need to go to the eye doctor. I'm really bad. I mean, when my contacts are about to run out, I'll go to the eye doctor. But I really should take advantage of it every year to get at least new glasses. But I'm also not great at being good about exchanging my contacts once a month. I usually go until they acquire
Until you can't see out
a
of them.
scratch out of them, and then they drive me crazy. So, let's see here. We're from Mount Rainier, Washington, all the way to New Jersey. Got the whole country today.
Wow.
I've been seeing a lot of pictures of Mount Rainier. That's really a beautiful spot, it looks like.
Sounds like that's going to be your next trip.
That's a long way off.
Is it longer than Texas? Is anything longer than Texas?
Well, it's been an interesting day. That's for sure.
What happened to you that was interesting?
Well, nothing in particular, but the icy tentacles of death, if you've noticed, are back in full force.
It's 62 outside, Kevin.
Yeah, ain't that's it?
Sometimes I'm really surprised that Kevin hasn't moved to Arizona yet.
Oh, no, that's dusty and dirty and icky. It gets cold at night in the desert. And no, we're not doing that.
No. No.
Well, and then, of course, we have the bad news of the week with the passing of Shep.
Yeah.
That's just a bummer.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different world in leather with no Shep Herman.
Well, that's for sure.
Who's going to give us insight now?
Well, you could ask Liz. She might.
I'll join the board of tanners for us, even though I know nothing.
Yeah, well,
Is
that
there
never
such a
kept you
thing?
from voicing your opinion otherwise.
Hey.
There is such thing as a board of tanners?
Uh-huh.
Are they board tanners or? Yeah, a board of tanners.
It's a board of tanners.
All right.
Right, Kevin? That's,
Sure,
I think that is correct.
I actually would not know. I am
Kevin likes to roll bundles.
I'm highly uneducated when it comes to lots of.
Hey, Kevin, could you be real cool and work like 4 inches to your left? Yes.
Well,
That's cute. I like that.
yeah, it's flowery,
Yeah.
but
It looks like something I might stencil on my wall. Over and over and over again.
I guess
Look, we even got farther than New Jersey. We got upstate New York. Any Maine today? Can we make it all the way to Maine? Can we go from Washington to Maine?
oh,
Odin says, I gotta get around to making one of these trading cards. I know, you gotta send it in. Our board is pretty much filled up. I apparently was not ambitious enough when I asked Andy to make our board, and we need to expand it quite significantly. I have multiple cards in one hole.
did I ever tell you, Denny, when my relationship with Shep Herman changed?
No.
Because, you know, I did leather work sort of kind of for a living before I started actually being in business
Selling leather.
associated with brick and mortar. And I used a lot of Herman Oaks leather. That was back in the day, many years ago, when you could actually buy it at Tandy. That was back in the 70s.
I remember those days.
And, well, that's interesting, because there's a lot I don't remember about the 70s, but anyway, as time passed, and, you know, about 25 years went by, close to it, and I'd been using Shep's leather and was pretty darn thrilled with it, you know, but that's all I really knew. And then I came to meet him and some of the other Herman Oak people at the various Tandy functions that they had every year. Shep would come and maybe be a guest speaker or something of the sort. And then when Tandy went out and I took over Springfield Leather, I realized I could do about anything I wanted to do within reason.
You realize that?
Yeah. And then I had this bright idea. Shep was willing to work with us, which was very nice. And so we got a good relationship started there. And I had this bright idea. I thought, you know, we had such a huge prison customer base. We just had thousands and thousands of inmate customers, and none of them used Herman Oak leather because they couldn't afford it. You know, inmates aren't known for being wealthy, most of them.
Not on the inside, anyway.
Yeah. So I had this bright idea. I thought, you know, if we could find a way to get Herman Oak leather into the hands of some of these prisoners, they would notice the difference, and they might be willing to pay a little more. Well, at the time, it took a lot more, but we were thinking maybe we could get some of them to change over in their leather selection. So I talked to Shep. I said, you know, I have what I think is a brilliant idea to get your leather into the hands of thousands of people that have never ever used it before. And he said, well, what is it? I said, well, I'd like to talk to you in person about it. So we set up an appointment, and drove to St. Louis.
You were here in Springfield.
I was here in Springfield, and I don't know, it's a week later or whatever the case. We drove to St. Louis, and there was I don't even remember how many of us from Springfield Leather were there, but it was several. And of course, they were really nice. They took us into the office and talked and made us eat a mandatory donut, you know, and Shep looked at me and he says, "So what's your idea, Kevin?" I said, "Well, I want you to sell 3 to 4 ounce leather to me for $2 a foot." It was $3 a foot at the time, distributor price. He looked at me and didn't say a word, but if you know Shep, you can just see his eyes start to blink, and that little grin starts on his face. Didn't say anything. Then he says, "And why should I do that?" I said, "Well, we have just a blue moon of inmate customers that I think would use your leather if they could afford it. If you could take a little less money, and I could take a little less money, I think we could sell a bunch of Herman oak leather to people that had never used it, and I think it would expand to the outside because they get out, and a lot of them do leather work when they get out, and I think that they will, I think this is going to be good." He didn't say anything much. He asked me a couple of questions, and I answered them best I could. And he asked me how much I thought I'd use. I said, "Shep, I don't know, but I kind of think it's going to be a lot." So he made a couple notes. We made a deal for $2. I believe it was $2.04 a foot. You know,
He hedged you up.
he had to get something.
I think that's where Kevin learned it. That was his first negotiation.
But, you know, and things never stopped from that point on, because Shep was always willing to listen. He was very open to try new ideas if they made sense. And he and I had a good relationship for the next 25 years after that, you know, because he realized I wasn't an idiot. I knew he wasn't an idiot. And between us, I think we did a pretty good chunk of good for the leather industry today. Because one thing that I explained to him, one reason why he should do this, was because I was willing to sell an inmate 1 or 2 or 3 feet of his leather. Nobody else would do that. They all required that you buy a side. Put it totally out of the ballpark.
Of a lot of people, not even just inmates.
Exactly.
Like getting into it if you want to try tooling leather, but you have to spend, I mean, at that point, let's see, it's $3 a foot. So,
And that's what
you know, you're talking
really pushed us
$200
over
per
the
side.
top of being, I don't know if we're Herman Oak's #1 distributor, but if not, we're up there in the top 2 or 3. And we were at the time. Boy, people flocked to that leather and bought it. And we just kept expanding the line, and it was really pretty neat.
You know, we at the iFolk show last week in St. Louis, I was talking to another fellow, Neil, the guy I was talking about,
Yeah.
and he and I
Did
were
you remember
talking
his name?
I finally did. But we were talking about the fact that you were the first one in our whole industry to sell cut pieces of leather. No one else would do it. Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah. Well, we did some things right along the way, and we had a lot of help, you know, and Shep was very instrumental. And he was always there to provide good ideas and suggestions too, and that's something that, you know, he's very practical. Shep had I guess what you might call at least I think of it as being a somewhat unique gift in being able to grasp the big picture of an idea fairly quickly. And he was very perceptive. You know, you could just tell. He took a minute to answer you when you raised a point. And he would always ask you, well, how have you thought about this? Or how have you thought about that? Or what are you going to do about this? Or what are you going to do about that situation? And sometimes my answer would be, well, I'm not sure. And he said, well, you could, you know, and it would go on. And he was a great contributor, for sure, to the retail leather business.
Well, I really appreciated, last night I spent some time listening to a couple podcasts that he had done, and one of them was with Carrie Schwartz,
Yeah,
at what I said to you. And what I just really appreciated with that was just, you know, he's the 4th generation person to run that tannery. And he said every one of his, you know, forefathers that ran it had to reinvent it for whatever the need was at the time, or whatever the market could sustain at the time. And Shep's big thing was he recreated it for the craft business in the United States as that took off.
well,
And as it changed.
and that's, you know, essentially, his being willing and able to make those adjustments once Tandy went out, that provided a great impetus to individual leather crafters all across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because in his working with us, between us, we were able to get more of his leather into more people's hands. And true, he always had those big manufacturing customers, but he didn't have as many of the little guys.
Yeah.
But now, man, they are out there and they're using his leather, and it's just a pretty neat thing.
You know what amazes me is it's been a family-owned business forever.
Yeah.
And it seems, you know, where else can you find a son that will actually take the reins and do what he has done, you know, and what his father did before him. You know, they knew about the business that they were taking over, you know, and there's a lot of family businesses, once the patriarch is gone, the
Yep.
business pretty much just dies, because whoever takes control doesn't have any interest in it, for one thing. But
Yeah. Well, he was careful, and he made a lot of good arrangements there. But I remember we took an awful lot of people through that tannery. Man, how many tours? I don't know how many tours we took up there.
We've done quite a few.
It was a bunch, yeah.
We just did one.
Yeah. Even sent an employee up there, I think.
We sure did. I mean, he had to make a stop in Alabama first, but eventually he made it up there.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Tools. Sure glad I picked all my dumb jalapenos the other day, right before that frost. Man, that thing, it got nasty.
I know.
Did you get all your plants in, Denny?
We didn't get them all in, but we got a lot of them in. The rest of them, we put little blankets on them.
Little blankets.
Kevin, what are you going to make with your jalapenos? Cheese
Oh,
dip?
I just eat them as jalapeno poppers and eat them with chips and cheese dip and that kind of stuff, you know.
I think it's about the season for another bowl of cheese dip.
Yeah, I got some at home. I should probably bring you some.
That's what I could make with all my onions this week. We're leaving next week, and we're going to be gone for 3 weeks, and Matthew, Chris's brother that watches our house, he won't touch an onion with a 10-foot pole, which I believe he's crazy for that, but he doesn't seem to care about what I think. And I have quite a hank of onions in my pantry. I don't know, there's like 6 or 7 that I need to eat, and I was like, well, I could just make a bunch of French onion soup, but cheese dip would actually be pretty all right.
Yeah. Well, I know you've got a good recipe.
I do. I could use a couple jalapenos.
Well, most stores have them this time of year.
You'll give away your elephant ears, but not your jalapenos?
Now you got it.
Chevy's making a batch of salsa right now.
Oh boy, that I had that he made was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
You know, it's times like this when I realize that I am really a lazy leather crafter. But I guess that's okay.
That's okay. Just
You do all right for being lazy.
Yeah, and not doing any leather work really.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't made you tool a trading card for several months now, but you still got it.
Well, yeah, as long as I can do simple things. As long as I don't have to do anything complicated like old Denny here.
well, I'm not doing so hot here. I'm wishing you were doing this and I was doing that. Not really, because that's not so uncomplicated.
Well,
You just got to worry it long enough.
yeah. You just gotta keep poking it. That helps a lot.
I like when you start to use your swivel knife backwards.
Well, yeah, it makes a nice little mark, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. I think it helps. Huh. Oops. I'm supposed to be over here, aren't I?
Oh, you're good actually. Tony's got you captured.
I keep forgetting. Well, we're supposed to be saying something witty about right now.
I know. I'm
Liz.
thinking.
That's okay. We don't have to say anything. We can just sit and listen to tooling. That's okay.
Little tooling ASMR. Well, I know he was complaining right before we started that he's been tossing around bags of hair-on hides,
Well, I have.
and those are heavy.
Yeah, they are.
So we do have a good couple pallets of some hair-on hides. It'll be nice and fresh. So we'll be getting those out moving. If you're here in town, you can come see. I'm sure they'll be putting some out on retail.
I think there's going to be some bargains in there,
Yeah.
to say the least.
And then Justin just told me that you said you were going to pull over a couple crates of Moore and Giles.
Oh, I did that. It's sitting outside waiting for me.
So we'll be refreshing our Milano bag sides and all sorts of things like that.
Yeah.
Finding some cool stuff for live shopping. You almost got all your lines there.
Yeah, that leather's a lot of fun to get into.
It is. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's like opening a box of chocolates.
Kinda.
Anything from a hair-on hide or a bunch of hair-on hide to the most beautiful just upholstery leathers in the world to some suede. Some every once in a while at Shearling,
Yeah,
you just literally never know what you're going to find.
that's true.
Some embossed leathers, some weird printed leathers that Van something or other, fancy designer dude. Every once in a while there'll be some weird geometric whole hides.
Bill Hamburg.
Bill Amberg. All I had was Van Amberg in my head.
Oh,
And I was like, I know that it's close, but it's not right.
Not right.
yeah, I don't think I need that one in my head.
We do, speaking of Van Amberg, we do have a lot of exotic scrap that we're going through right now. So we've got a decent amount of fresh elephant remnant pieces that are pretty great.
Those
Kevin's
stingray
go through some
faces are
stingray.
really cool.
Yeah, do you have that out front?
Yes.
All right, so we've got some stingray faces, kind of like the top half of the hide. And as we
And some stingray butts.
ooh, faces and butts, everybody.
And they're really nice. It's big enough to do stuff with.
They got real nice butts.
That's terrible.
You ask for some witty banter.
Oh, well, at least we got halfway there.
Let's see here. Oh, we have a leather question. How fun. I'm a pretty inexperienced carver and tooler. Is there any advantage to the round head mallets? I don't really like using it, and I have one.
My suggestion. Well, you want to go first, Denny? You're the one using that dumb thing.
I'd say use whatever you're comfortable with.
That's my feeling
Because-
exactly.
Because, and that gets discussed every time someone talks about hitting a tool. You use a mallet exclusively.
It's because that's what I grew up with.
Jim Linnell uses a mallet exclusively. There are lots of people that use a mallet exclusively.
Yep.
You know, and it's whatever you're used to, whatever you want to use, basically.
Yeah.
If you have a phobia against a mallet, you can use one of these, and vice versa. You know,
You can wrap a 2x4 with a rag and you can hit that.
that's exactly
You sure
right.
can. Just make sure that you got good wrist action and that you're not hurting yourself. I think that's the most important part to learn is that you're not whacking it like a hammer.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're just like you're gonna exhaust everything in here. You're gonna get really tired tooling. Like Denny can sit there and tool for hours and he's all right. In fact, I'm really surprised that you might have a little arthritis, but I don't feel like it's like. Do you have a little arthritis?
I have a big arthritis.
Oh, do you have a big arthritis?
A large one, yes.
Yeah. But does your tooling affect you?
Not really, no.
Okay. Is it mostly where you hurt your shoulder?
I've got arthritis in this finger. I can't bend it any further than that. You know, when you get older, you get arthritis. There is just no way around that. Am I correct?
Something
Kevin?
happened to me.
Well,
I know you don't know because you haven't reached that age yet.
That's right. I'm still waiting.
I thought he had passed it.
Well, maybe that's why I don't have it. Or maybe I do have some. And I'm just too dumb to know what it is.
Well, you were talking about your back.
Well, that hurts,
I would,
yeah, that-
I would venture to say you've got some arthritis in your back.
That could be.
I would venture to say if you went to a doctor and said, Doc, I've got this deal with my arm. It's been sore lately. And they'll say, well, I can take x-rays if you want me to, but I can tell you probably what it is. You've got some arthritis. That's what they always tell me.
We got a little arthritis at the table.
And we pay them to tell us that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just like making sure that because even like Kevin's using the mallet, but he still has his wrist is still straight.
Yeah.
He's not, he's still moving this way.
Yeah, if you look at both of us, we aren't holding it like a hammer and hitting it like this. We're holding it like this.
You get a good tap. I'm not left-handed. Denny's left-handed, but
Same thing, though. You do it the opposite way I do it.
so use whatever you want.
Well,
Oh, Mikey
what
said he
Denny
moved to Las
was-
Vegas and his arthritis went away.
What Denny said was really the key. It's comfort.
Yep.
Because leather tooling is just by nature, it can be a bit tedious. And you want to be comfortable.
You know there's a lot of people that say, "Whoa, man, I hate to do that. It's just so." Well, don't do it then. You know, do something else.
That's right. If you're gonna cut yourself with a head knife, use a different knife.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy what you're doing. I mean, this is supposed to be enjoyable. I hope, because I enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope I'm not doing something wrong because I enjoy it, you know? People say, well, that takes so long. Yep, it does.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the world we live in is fraught with difficulty and anxiety and tension and one thing and another. And one thing about leather work is that you can either do leather work or you can worry about things, but you really can't do both at the same time.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's like, I don't know if you do this when you play guitar, but a lot of guys will work their mouth really weird when they're playing guitar, and they don't even realize it, you know, because they aren't thinking about anything but playing their guitar.
Chris does that when he's making knives. When
Yeah.
he's hand sanding, I'm just like, what is happening over there? But that's like his like method of concentration.
Could you pass the water, please?
Well, of course.
Thank you.
I've just, I had to resist because that was a pretty low flying softball.
Did you need to make a Denny burn?
No, I just was wanting to squirt them.
Oh, I know. I was actually sitting here thinking like I could have gotten squirted in that moment. Kevin's getting a little bit ornerier every day that passes.
I don't know.
I think only outside judges shall make that assessment.
This is how you make a backgrounded border look okay when it doesn't really look okay. Little did I know that the backgrounder I was using had a tendency to leave marks outside the edge. This'll work.
You might even finish that one today.
Yeah. Might.
I know Kevin's sitting over here worrying that one, but he's got a whole another half an hour to make another one.
Well, that may or may not occur.
Kevin does half-hour cards.
No, I just do cards. I don't time them. Huh. Well, that was a bad cut. Oh well.
Just make some good cuts around it.
What's one bad cut amongst friends?
Flip it. Oh, Denny, did you get a chance to look for the step-in?
Oh, the Sheps?
Mhm.
No, I haven't yet.
Sorry, Chevy. He
Chevy,
really needs those.
I will. It might be after I come back, though, towards the end of November. I hope you can wait that long.
Yeah. Is there any tips that you could give somebody? Like say they have the pattern for the shotgun chaps, or a different. How could you alter
The
it?
step-ins are a little bit more of a bell bottom, so you want them a little bit wider down at the bottom.
A bell bottom chap.
Yeah.
That sounds like my kind of chap.
Well, in fact, they some of them they call Arizona bell bottoms.
Okay.
You know, that's they're a step-in shaft, but that's just most of them are like that. You don't have to make them like that.
Okay.
But really, you can just take a shotgun shaft pattern and lace it together. Add about an inch, you know, because you got to get your foot, your boot, and everything through it at the top. And you want to stop about mid calf. You don't want to go all the way down to your heel with like you would with a zipper. You want to shorten them up some. Like
It seemed like they were a little bit lower on the butt. They kind of came up maybe just slightly lower, so that opening was maybe. Well, I guess it's pretty big since your butt's missing, anyways.
Depends on how big your butt is, I guess.
Well, your butt doesn't have to go into it, so it doesn't. So and then just stop at about mid calf.
Yeah. But really, there's no trick to it.
And then most of them I saw, they were just kind of buck stitched up the leg.
Yeah, they lace them together rather than stitch them most of the time. You know, and sometimes they'll put conchos on them to fancy them up with all that buck stitch and stuff.
Put some slotted conchos all the way down in your buck stitching.
Yeah. It's not really. I guess it's buck stitch, but it's not really. It's just laced, in and out. So you can do whatever you want to do.
Hear that, Nick? Whatever you want to do.
That's a hard concept for a lot of people to get when it comes to leather work.
Yeah.
I don't know why it got that way, but I guess just over time, people just sort of tended to think, well, if you wanted to do something, you had to do it that way.
Yeah. And
I know it affected saddle making to a great degree.
sure. Still, it affects everything. People will see, like in our catalog, we'll have some pictures, and people will say, I've got to do it just like that. But that's not true. You don't have to do anything just like anything.
I think that was one of the things I was listening to a Jim Linnell interview with Don Gonzalez here a month or two, and I think we talked about it just a little bit, but that was a thing that Jim Linnell said. He was just like, he's like, I never list the tools, or he doesn't like to list the tools, or maybe in the beginning for his patterns, because he's like, then people think you have to use that tool. And he's like, you don't. You can use whatever tool that kind of fits the bill for what you're going for, but just because I use them doesn't mean that they're the right one, or the best one, or the only one.
Yeah.
Well, even when he was here, he'd be doing something, and I was sitting pretty close to him, and he'd say, hey, have you got a wiggler or something like that?
A wiggler?
Yeah.
Oh,
just
okay.
a vanter,
Right.
With just a squirrely pattern on it, or something like that, he would say.
Okay, yeah. I just need something along those lines.
I just need something like that, and I didn't bring anything like that with me.
I need a wiggler.
Yeah, just whatever you could come up with, He said, that'd probably work. Let's try that.
William says, don't make mistakes. Make spontaneous, creative choices.
Oh, boy. That's pretty good. Well, I got a lot of spontaneous, creative choices here, I can tell you. I don't know if they're all that wonderful, but they're pretty spontaneous.
I let you know if I think that they're dumb.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's just enough. I sort of did kind of what I wanted to do.
Sort of, kind of?
Yeah.
Halfway a little bit.
It's going to be good enough.
Pretty much all right.
I think he's pretty fun. All freehand and everything.
Oh.
I mean,
Really should do something.
next.
Something, where's the water, please?
Ooh, back to the
I'm glad
water.
you resisted your urge.
I hadn't thought about my urge till you mentioned it, or I would have, or I might not have resisted.
Where's?
I'm
Oh,
looking.
I see it. It's a big cake.
Oh, he's sneaky, but he got it. Look at that. That's gorgeous, Kevin.
I think it's beautiful.
I like the bubbly background.
Kinda weird. But hey, it's okay. It's all squiggly.
What do you need?
I like squiggles, you know.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any sound on my computer.
Keep hearing the sound of the over. I hear it too. It sounds like it's coming from over there.
Isaac and I don't have speakers.
Speakers. My speakers are off too.
Kevin, is your pocket getting emails?
Yeah.
It's Kevin.
Do I need to shut it off?
It's okay.
I thought
Tony's annoyed, but
it created an air of mystique.
I was gonna
Creates
hear
an
it. I
error
couldn't
of
figure out where it's
mistake.
coming from.
yep, it's Kevin.
Man, it's just going off, ain't it?
Sure is. Are you guys all emailing Kevin?
Well, I hope not. So I get all kinds of stupid ones.
There's mine.
Oh, look, you even have time for a second one.
Squirrely back and forth.
Look at that reflection, too.
That's good.
You got some shiny granite.
Very nice. All right, well, I guess you can start your other flower.
Okay.
Zoom, zoom.
Could you pass the water, please? Again?
You guys are so thirsty today. Usually that's what I say about the leather.
This is a petunia.
A petunia.
I've never done a petunia before. I thought I would try a petunia.
I don't know if I realized that was a flower. I think I did.
Well. Oh, why not?
Oh, why not?
Yeah. Happy little flower.
In a happy little vase.
No. No, I'm not that carried away. Let's see, but I probably should schmuck something around here. Let's see. We can just do this.
A Looney Tune.
A Looney Tune?
That would be fun. You do a Tweety Bird for me?
Too late.
That would be really fun to carve all the Looney Tunes. That would be a fun little card set.
Yeah.
And then you could carve the monsters.
Monsters Inc.
Just those two. Chevy, has Chad ever done that? That would be a fun one. I think one of my favorite quotes is, "I don't want to go to school today, Mommy. I want to stay home and make cookies with you." Sometimes when I'm just really in the depths of despair, that's what I say to Chris.
Depths of despair.
I have to come here and look at one more page of a catalog. Surprised I have hair left sometimes.
After you done with that, I'm gonna stick you on the website.
Yay. I think that'll actually... No, that's not going to be any better.
I know what your next project is. Stacy hasn't got to it yet.
Yep.
By the time you get back. He's supposed to do a Looney Tunes set.
For an official set? Like Looney Tunes was like, hey, you can make an official set?
He did it for Star Wars.
Oh, that's cool. Stinking Chad.
What's that?
He just does like trading cards. He's going to do some Looney Tunes ones.
Chevy bought me one the other night.
Chevy buys... Chad, the only reason that Chad is a stay-at-home artist is because of Chevy Guy.
Chevy pays monthly salary.
Chevy, what can I make that you will pay me to stay home and make
I'll make jokes.
all the time?
I'll just sit down and talk for 8 hours if that works for you. It's true. I've offered to buy a knife from Chris. I can't even get him to make me one.
Listen, he hasn't made knives for a long time, but he's
He
back.
did.
He's back in the shop.
He did repair one for Amanda,
thought it was silly, and he was like, "You should just get a new one." But he understood. He fixed it.
Oh, it's so much better now.
I think he just glued it.
Oh, he sharpened and polished it. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
That made a huge difference. The sharpen.
I had him sharpen some knives for my mom, and she's
Yeah.
cut herself like 3 times.
What?
And I'm like, maybe less sharp for mom.
Maybe dull them up a little bit.
I don't know. I give Becky a board with a piece of leather and some rouge on it.
Do you?
Well, yeah.
Does she strop her knives?
Well, when she gets so frustrated that it won't cut a tomato, yeah. She says, "You need to sharpen my knives." I said, "Why don't you just do that little thing right there? That'll get you by." But I did the other day. I took a steel and... You ever use those things, Denny?
I have not with any great success. No, I will say that.
Actually, they work quite well. My dad was a butcher,
Oh.
and he used to cut stuff a lot, you know, and he had...
I think that's literally a whole butcher's job.
Yep, that's what it was. And he would just whippity, and then he had a strop that whoosh, 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 and he was done, and that thing would cut. But it doesn't make the same kind of edge that, you know, a
Yeah.
swivel knife has. It's got a microscopic saw edge, I guess, if you want, or a rough edge. Boy, they sure cut.
Did you ever do any butchering, Kevin? When you were growing up?
I worked for, my first job was working for an old German sausage maker. And he hired me to debone meat. And that was interesting. I did it. Didn't cut myself all that much.
That's good.
Yeah.
Was this a high school job?
Yeah.
Or like a middle school job?
No, it was after high school. But it wasn't much. And I didn't do it for long.
Mm-hmm.
Never did like to work that much.
That's the most ridiculous. You're here 7 days a week most of the time. I guess maybe 6 now sometimes. I mean, I don't come in too often on Sundays, but I feel like you're still here 7 days a week.
Well, I don't. It's probably closer to 6. And actually not really even 6, because sometimes I don't, you know, I don't work a full day all the time.
So he works 5.5 to 7.
It's interesting.
I think that's gorgeous.
Well,
Yeah, pretty.
You need to do like a half swivel knife border around the opposing side.
okay. I'll do that.
Okay.
See, I need my twisty, twirly. Ooh, I'll use a great big one.
Twisty twirly.
Then if I had a little one, I could kind of use it for a stop.
You know, you would think working in the leather industry, I would be kind of like accustomed to how big cows are because, you know, like half of them covered this 4x8 table, right? But I saw a video the other day on like, it was a butcher and they were carving up like the rib cage of a cow. And it just really shook me how large those segments are.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
It's just like a whole person, which I mean, like, as I think about it, I know this, but you just don't see it in person very often. And like just the scale
Yeah.
of
well,
what
they're
that
even
is.
bigger than a whole person.
I know.
Because the cow weighs, the ones they butcher weigh 1,000 pounds or more.
That's a couple people.
Yeah, several people.
Maybe only 4 Chris's, but. He did weigh in at 255 yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. But I think that was after having a couple meals, you know.
Did you say
A couple meals.
Oh.
Milk.
That's a lot. Was it the whole gallon?
He
Yeah,
usually
that's
goes
how-
through the
That's how Chris.
1 liter at a time. We'll buy like, because we buy the Fairlife, so we'll buy like 5 of those every week. I might use a cup or 2 during a week.
Yeah, it's like close to $25 a week on milk.
Oh, and you eat 3 boxes of cereal a week. You guys eat 3 boxes of cereal a week?
I don't even eat 1 box of cereal a week. I don't even eat cereal.
Oh my. Kevin, yeah, don't go to Arizona. J&T says it's snowing there.
Ah. Must be around Flagstaff.
This morning, it was Monday morning at our meeting, and Rusty's talking, and Kevin's looking at the weather on his phone, and he turns to me and he says, Liz, the icy tentacles are here. He's like, there are 30 degrees in here.
Well,
He was not thrilled about that.
not big into cold. I don't like having to walk outside when it's cold.
Is it time to blow a hole in the coffee shop?
Oh my gosh. I think we already did that.
Not into the shop.
Oh.
We could
Well-
make, we just blew a secondary hole in the shop, so if we get you a hole at the back of that room, you can just come straight through. I'd put in a request.
Yeah?
File that.
Well, you guys are moving all the racks around, it's perfect time, you just leave a gap, blow a hole. Good to go. Jesse's, he's got it under control. He can do it.
But he does that.
I think Jesse is the best maintenance person in the whole world.
I'd have to agree with you.
I have never seen him. I couldn't run as fast as he walks.
And he just thrives on cold weather.
He does.
You know, shorts and a t-shirt when it's 10 below is not a big deal.
Him and Ryan.
He was wearing pants the other day, and I was like, it's not even winter yet. And I was like, what's going on, Jesse? And I was like, you're in pants. I'm confused. This isn't the Jesse that I know. Maybe he had something that he had to do that was not work. I asked him one time, I was like, Jesse, have you ever watched a movie? And he pretty much just said no. Because he came in and he was making the Voyager backpack pattern. And he made a really nice backpack. And I was like, you do leather work too? Because I just had no idea. But he does. He goes home and he does leather work. And he comes here and he does maintenance and does all the things and runs around like a
He's a
crazy
doer.
person. He's a doer.
So is this what you're thinking, Liz? Something on this order?
Oh, yeah, that's real nice. I was just thinking, like, you could go from where this point is, kind of like halfway down, and just do a fun little corner border. I was just looking at it. You know what I'm talking about. Some fun little cuts. Like, you did, like, this little border here, but you could do it. Just like a corner one, or like this little swiggly guy.
Well, I think I'm just faking it now.
Okay.
I sent you a video yesterday of ice cream. I saw that thing. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, you did.
Thanks for looking at it. Yeah.
What did I do last night? I did some laundry. I did a bunch of emails last night. I was in knife show world.
Ooh.
Yeah, I gotta wrangle you, old man. I gotta wrangle knife, old man. It's my whole life.
Your whole life is just old man.
It's just wrangling old men. That's all right. I think I got the hang of it at this point.
I think I'm close to done.
Yeah?
How did I do? Oh, let's see.
You get a little KH on there somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't KH mine.
You didn't
Okay,
DL it.
Okay, it's mine.
He's in Williams, Arizona. It's about 40 minutes from Flagstaff. Oh, it's a historic town off Route 66. We're a historic town on Route 66.
Yes.
Goes right through. I used to walk home Route 66 from middle school sometimes.
I just love being historic.
That
Yeah,
is
You're pretty
beautiful.
well there.
Getting there, yeah.
That is beautiful, Kevin.
Denny's historic.
I'm not antique though. Just historic. I'm what do they call it? Retro.
Oh, I was like right on it. All right. Don't mind my coffee shakes. Look at that guy. All right.
Well, hey, I finished on time.
You sure did. It's a twofer. And then he got his flour
You got a
going.
1.5.
It's cutting
Cut the
beveled.
flower.
Denny's just vintage.
I'm vintage.
Vintage is fantastic.
Well, that's nice. Thank you for asking me to do this. I appreciate it, I think.
Thank you for coming. We
Yes.
appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, it has been a lovely, lovely day. This will probably be our last regularly scheduled programming unless Tony decides to jump on here and do something, which he might. He's spontaneous like that. So as Denny and I head off to vacation, if any of you are in the Big Bend area of Texas, right?
Right.
Holler at us and we'll get you hooked up with Denny. Otherwise, we will see you guys in a couple of weeks.
You did a better twirl than I did.
And thank you so much for joining us.
See you guys.
Bye.